welcome to Sarah's Stampin' Retreat. Today we're going to be making this gorgeous Christmas twist and pop card. So to create our card today we're going to be using the 'Tis the Season Designer Series paper and the Tag Buffet stamp set. So we'll be using quite a lot of the stamps from this set today. So to start we're going to be creating the base of the card and all the mechanisms to go in it. So we're going to start with a piece of real red cardstock that's 11 inches by 4¼ inches, and we're just going to score this in half at 5½ inches, and this will be our card base. So we'll set that to the side. Then I've got another piece of card, and this will be the piece that's decorated in the middle that pops out. So this is 11 inches by 3¾ inches. We're going to score that at 2¾ inches, at 5½ inches, and at 8¼ inches. And then we're just going to fold that. So we'll do a valley fold first, and then a mountain fold, and then a valley fold. We'll just set that to the side as well. And then this is for the mechanism. So this piece of cardstock measures 3 inches by 8 inches, and we're going to score it at 4 inches. And then we're just going to put a little mark here at 2½ and 5½ inches. And we're going to turn it round. We're going to put another little mark, 2½ inches and 5½ inches. Then going to score it up this lengthways at 1½ inches. And then you can see here I've used a black marker to just draw along one of the lines on my scoreboard, and I use this a lot for diagonal scoring. So then I can just line up this mark here, which you might not be able to see that well on the camera, I'm not sure. So I'm putting one mark at the bottom and one mark at the top, so I can make sure they're all in one line. And I'm just going to score that down, and I'm going to do the same with the opposite marks. So I'm just making sure that that and that mark, they're both on that black line, so that I can score through. And I hope you can see that it's made like a star in the middle, so all of those lines intersect. So I'm going to start by decorating the inside of the card, and then we can put the card together and decorate the rest. So first I'm going to use this 'Tis the Season sentiment, and I'm just going to heat emboss that on this piece of the 'Tis the Season Designer Series paper. I've just rubbed it with my embossing buddy, and I've got my Versamark ink. You can see mine's not particularly clean anymore, but it still works fine. So I'm just going to stamp that here. I'm going to sprinkle it with the white embossing powder. Now just flip the excess off. I'm just going to take my heat tool and melt the embossing powder on that. So there we go. I'm going to set that to the side for a second, because I also want to heat emboss a Merry Christmas on here that we'll use later, and I might as well do that while we've got the embossing stuff out. So here's the Merry Christmas from the same stamp set. I'm just going to cover that with my embossing buddy. I'll just stamp that down. Pour on the powder. I'm just going to melt the embossing powder on this one there. It's actually really difficult to show that on camera without getting the heat tool in the way, so I hope you managed to see the melting process on there. Right, so I'm just going to stick my inserts inside the card. So I've got my trusty Tombow glue. This piece of cardstock is just a 4" by 5¼ inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. So I'm going to stick on that on this side so you've got somewhere to write your message. And then this measures the same side, and it's just a piece of our "'Tis the Season" Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to stick that at the top. And then we can just make the mechanism that goes in the centre of our card. Actually, I'm just gonna glue this at the bottom. Just to tighten with the top of it. And then I'm going to make the mechanism that makes the twist and pop work. So just need to reinforce all of the folds on here. If you don't have nails, then do it with your bond folder. Now when we get to this point, we're just going to make sure that these lines fold in and the top folds over, and then we've got this triangle portion at the top of each side. So I'm going to put glue on one side of the triangle, and I'm going to glue that in the centre on this side of the card. You want to make sure that it touches the score line of the card. I'm just pushing that down to make sure that you can close the card once it's stuck. And then I'm just going to put some more on this side. I'm going to close that over so it sticks to this side as well. There we go, so then you can see that twist and pop is working. And then what we're going to do, we're going to make sure that this lines up with the centre. So we're lining up this centre with this centre on here, and then I'm just folding this over, and I'm going to just draw a line down the edge of that, just to that line, and at the bottom I'm going to draw down there. I'm just going down to the centre fold here so you can see, and then this is the part that I want the glue on. So just that top square there and this bottom square here, or a rectangle than a square, but hey. And then I'm just going to line this back up so that this is in the middle again, and then I'm going to glue that down. And then the first time you close it, you're going to want to help it a little bit, so just do it really slowly, make sure it's going in the right place. You can see that doing the twist, you just want to help it along a little bit, and then just press on the outside to make sure that everything's sticking properly, and then we can open it back up. There we go. So that's our twist and pop done. So now we can do the decorating. So I'm going to use this piece of the "'Tis the Season" Designer Series paper for the front of the card, and I'm just going to put some of that across the centre. So let's get some scissors. Oh. So I'm just going to pop a bit of tear and tape across the middle. I'll just fold it around the edge. And then pull that off. And just put my piece of ribbon around the edge as well. So that was from the Wonder of the Season pack, and then this is from the Trim in the Town pack. And I just want a piece of this in the middle as well. So I'm actually just going to attach this one at the back because it's too fine to attach around the middle. Got that like that, so I'm going to glue that to the front of my card. And I'm just going to make a little topper for it. So I'm just going to use some dimensionals. This is the stocking from the Tag Buffet stamp set, and I've just coloured it with Poppy Parade stamping blends. But we've got so much on this card, I didn't want you to have to watch me colour that as well. So I'm just going to stick that on there. And then I'm just going to add this holly here. And that's also from the same stamp set. And I'm going to use these All the Trimmings gems as well. I'm going to use one of the big ones. Just put that in the centre there. So that's our little topper to go on our card. And then we just want to decorate this centre bit. So I've got 3 pieces of this cardstock, and they measure 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And I'm going to pop them on like this, and then I've got this one that matches the front, and I'm just going to put that one on there. And then I've got some bits and pieces here. They're all stamped with the Tug Buffet stamp set, and the colours that I've used to colour them are Shaded Spruce, Poppy Parade and Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to pop those on here. And you can also click subscribe to see my future projects. If you click on notifications, then YouTube will let you know when a new one's been released too. All of the products that we've used for today's project will be linked in the description below, and there'll also be a host code that you can pop into your basket, and I'll send you a free gift at the end of the month. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you again soon. I love these foam pads, by the way. They're the Stampin' Up Stampin' Dimensionals, and because they're hexagonal, they just seem a lot easier to pull off the page than normal square ones. So if you're looking to get some new ones, I would definitely recommend them. Now this does close with these dimensionals on, but you'll see it's quite a thick card, so if you're worried about postage or anything, then you could just glue them on instead. I quite like the dimensional look. So then you can see I've created a little bow here. I'm just going to show you with this one how I've created it. So this is just again some of that gold edge trim that we used on the front of the card. It's called Trimming the Town ribbon pack, and I'm just creating 2 loops with my fingers, pulling my fingers out and just tying a little knot with the 2 loops, and that makes it so that the ends come down there and the loops are at the top, so you get a nice even bow, and then you can just pull the ends till you get the size of bow that you're happy with. So I think I'm fine with that, and then we can just trim the edges to make it nice and neat. There we go. So then I've got some glue dots here, because those are my favourite things to add ribbons on, because it just seems to attach them really nicely. we'll stick that one on there. And this one on here. And then I've got some holly like we used on the front, just to attach to the stocking. And so I use another of these Trim in the Town embellishments just to stick on there. You can see that these have been well used. And then to finish off, I'm just going to cut out this Merry Christmas. So I'm just going to cut around it, leaving a little red border around the outside. And then I'm just going to add my dimensionals on the back. And pop those on my card. So that's our card finished for today. You can see it will stand on the mantle like that. We've got this lovely front to it, and then it opens to give us this gorgeous pop out card. So it's definitely a time consuming one to make, but I think it's just such a nice way to spend an afternoon if you want to make one, and whoever you give it to I'm sure will feel really special, because you can tell, I think even if you don't craft, you can tell a lot of work's gone into it. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my project. If you did, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below,